Hola, mi familia. So nice to be back. I apologize for being absent for so long. I haven't been in contact with any of you really, but I had some troubles with our proposed adversaries and elsewise. Things just generally clumped up and got down on me, and I actually got locked out of my account for a little while because they pulled a really tricky stunt with some pornographic features, but it was a easy fix as usual. Got right back into it. I actually found some pretty awesome, uh, insightful insights regarding my precious telephone, who's what's named Liara, by the way, Liara Tassani, after my blue baby from Mass Effect. If any of you haven't played the video game series Mass Effect 1 through 3 at least, if not all of them, you're not even on the level. You got to get with the program, man. I mean, I don't play video games anymore. Sometimes I miss it, but if you haven't played Mass Effect, fuck me. You're lost. You need to get a grip. In any case, I gleaned a lot of insights regarding everything. I got very deep into myself and into the world and just meditative areas of interest, and really got through some serious issues and came up with some serious answers, which is what I'm going to be speaking to here. My beautiful, amazing, wonderful niece Trinity actually kind of hooked me up with the values required to unlock these solutions. And it may not be an easy fix, and it may be stating the obvious, over again, the same kind of thing we've spoken to before. But maybe if I can clarify it, it might be helpful. I've tried this approach several times. The direct approach isn't nearly as effective as the indirect, spot casting approach that I've been using, which is working out very well. We've got a lot of new representatives. We got a lot of new, where we're dealing with several other communities that, some of which may or may not be beneficial to us in the long run, but hopefully things will work out for everybody. We're trying to do the best we can for them. We're going to benefit them as best we can, and hopefully it will wind up benefiting us. We do, everything we do is we don't get paid for this. We act under the presumption that we're going to be paid off by the world eventually, and it more often than not works out that way. That's kind of the arrangement we have. In any case, I want to speak to the concept of training. Now, when I talk about training, this is in reference to everything. It's we don't train people. Like, I can teach you to use weapons very very well, like really very well. It's a lot of fun too. And I can teach you to use your body in certain ways. I can teach you to unlock potentialities in your body, and these are specific training measures that we can give you courses, exemplary lessons, so to speak. But when I speak to training, I'm talking about everything. We don't train a certain specific something. We train you to be. We train you to be excellent, and to, we don't give you answers. We train you to make your own answers. And when I say training, it's exactly what it says. You know, it's like train cars. It's not like training an animal. Well, it is like training an animal, but people have the wrong perception of it. It's got aspects attached to the value of it that distract your perception from the actual meaning. And training implies forcing or subduing. That's not the case. Training is just like train cars, one after another. Training is habits. It's im- suggesting or implying or providing, habits, routines that you train together one after another continuously, that become, the routines that become habits that benefit you ultimately. Well, we want to benefit you. Other people will train you in other ways, and that's what we're talking about here. You know, we will instill you, install, literally, you could call it installing a program, a subroutine in your operating system that will allow for you to exercise yourself in such a way as to gain higher potentialities, gain benefits, benefit from the world ultimately. And the goal to it is to get you in the habit, in the routine of communicating with yourself and with the world, and understanding yourself in such a way as to see who and what you really are, and to create yourself and become who and what you really are based on your own directions, based on your own decisions. Because society as a whole, we have been trained by society, by media outlets, by public opinion, the status quo. Get it? We we've been trained as a people to be subdued, and then ultimately, to cap it off, to lock that off, we've been trained to consider the concept of training as a derogatory, as being subdued, and to blow it off. And not very many people actually discipline themselves because their very parents have installed that value system in them to understand disciplinary measures as being, a hurtful thing, as being like a reprimand. We The aspects attached to the value of the very word, the concept of discipline, imply being reprimanded, being, you know, whatever the word is, I can't think of it right now, but you know, being being reprimanded. Yeah, that's the best word I can come up with at the moment. But scolded. There you go. We've been trained to consider discipline, the concept of discipline, as being scolded or reprimanded. And so we blow it off. We don't want it. It's a bad thing to us because we don't understand what it actually is. Now, as a people, as a society, we've been trained to identify with each other as being potential threats rather than potential friends. We've been trained to identify challenges as problems. We've been trained to identify opportunities as impositions. You know, we've been trained to subdue ourselves. And I can give a brilliant example to this for this with the prescription antidepressant medications, which, mind you, there's a commercial out that I've been seeing recently that speaks to the potential side effects of a certain antidepressant medication. I'm not going to name it because I think that would be you know that would be unwanted difficulty that could cause problems for us. We can't call things out, but I'm sure many of you have seen this commercial if you watch daytime television or what have you. If you watch the news, you've seen this commercial because it's a lot of people flock to the news, the media. Everybody flocks to that 11 o'clock news or whatever time it is, and that's where they're going to place these training measures that they're training you, they're programming you while you watch the television. And they're in this commercial, they're talking about potential side effects that they're just now becoming aware of for a drug that they've had on the market for years. This is because they're experimenting on you with this drug. They're using you as the guinea pig to experiment with this drug. They don't know what it is. They don't know what it really does. They don't know what it's going to do to you in the long run. And, you know, ultimately, what this drug is actually doing is shutting down parts of your brain that are provide you with the ability to overcome challenges, to accept and to overcome challenges. That these drugs are subduing you. They're making you dependent upon a certain something to produce your own positive energy and to make your own decisions, and that they're making you apathetic. Some people have a rare sort, a certain genetic structure. I'm amongst these people, have a side effect when taking these drugs because of course they put me on them at some point. They try to put everybody on them. They're pushing them like they're pushing them like they can't get rid of them fast enough because they're experimenting. And ultimately it causes apathy. They know that much, so they want it out there. But some people with a certain genetic structure will actually start sleepwalking when they take these drugs, and a lot of people have a tendency to commit violent acts. There are people that are in prison right now because they murdered their families their children even sleepwalking, and they're in prison now because this drug made that happen. I mean, certain people might be psychopaths and want to murder their children, but most people are not really going to be, consider that an option. But then they take this drug, they sleepwalk, and they kill everybody in the house while they're sleeping. I mean, fuck me. There are people who walked in the stores, walked down the street into the nearest store and shot somebody for no reason, sleepwalking, because of these drugs. And again, they have no idea what these drugs actually do. But right now, they're becoming aware of certain side effects of this drug, one of which the potentiality for people to develop a gambling addiction. And they are, I can't believe how point blank it is. See, as I've been saying before, these things are right in your face. They're out in the open. They're not hidden. You're not seeing them. You're not appropriately viewing them because you have these aspects and these implications. And I understand that when I say this, it's off-putting and it triggers that cognitive dissonance in you where you want to get mad about it, you want to shut it out because you don't want to believe that you're being controlled. You don't want to accept that you may not be in control of yourself. But you have to accept that in order to take control. You have to identify the problem in order to implement the solution. So yes, you, me, all of us, we've been programmed, but you can overcome it. And it's as simple as making a rock solid decision to just break those habits, break those routines, identify the values that are putting you down, that are ailing you, that are dragging you, and just work towards breaking the habits. You just have to put in the effort and it will become easier and you will actually gain energy and gain momentum and speed up from applying this tension, from applying attention or paying attention, rather. Anyways, the potential of developing a gambling addiction. They're telling you that if you've taken this drug and you've developed a gambling addiction since you started taking this drug, that you might be entitled to compensations for it because you've been victimized. Now, point blank in your face, what they're telling you is that this gambling addiction, it's a side effect of the drug. You have no control over it. You have no choice. And when you accept that and say, "Oh my God, I have an illness," it's not just poor decision making. I have an actual medical illness. Once you accept that idea, you forfeit your responsibility. First thing, you've tossed away your power to make the conscious decision to change it, and you've accepted the idea that you are not in control of it. Then they're telling you that not only are you not in control of it, but that you've been victimized, promoting the victimization complex that's spreading, subduing you. They're training you to victimize yourself, to make yourself a victim, to subdue yourself, and to forfeit your power, to forfeit your control, to identify with the concept that you do not have control of yourself. And then it is that concept that you do not have control of yourself that you fight. So it's a double negative. It's a catch 22. You got to wake up, man. You got to wake up. It's the only solution. But point blank, they're telling you that, and they're giving you a rock solid 5x5, you know, solid excuse to continue gambling because you're not in control of it. I have a problem. It's not my decision. I can't help myself. And then on top of it, they're going to offer you money. You get a compensation from a lawsuit over this drug. Meanwhile, they're going to prescribe you another drug that's almost exactly the same because they're experimenting with it. This is them switching from one drug to the next in this experimentation process. And they're tricking you into believing that you have this uncontrollable problem because of the drug. They're promoting the problem. They're telling you to continue gambling because you can't control it. And then they're going to give you money to go out and gamble with. And they're going to make that money back when you lose it. And the only thing that's actually transpired, the only real value that's come across from that is they've caused you to train yourself to be a victim, to forfeit your control. This this is the problem. And buying into it, when you see things like that are implying these things to you and you don't see it, you don't know what it is up front, and it slips into your subconscious and becomes a subconscious routine, that's how they're programming you. That's how the programming works. That's how spot casting works. Except we use it to try and diffuse this programming. We use it to try and uninstall the negative, damaging programs that have been installed to you. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're largely successful to a huge degree. It's working out, but we need you guys to be awake, alert, aware. You have to accept and acknowledge the problem and see it for what it is in order to overcome it. You have to stop treating challenges like problems. You have to see this challenge, this actual problem that's being presented, accept it, acknowledge it, and accept it as a challenge that you can overcome and fight to do that. And then acknowledge the opportunity in that. It's not an imposition, it's not an undue stress. It's an opportunity for you to more fully express yourself and achieve a higher level of excellence, to raise the bar on your own limitations. So that's basically that's it. That's the bottom line. You have to identify the values in play. You have to cut through the aspects, get to the actual values, and observe what's really happening. You have to see what's really happening. You have to wake up, open your eyes, open your second eyelids, as Mushishi Genku would say. In any case, that's the message. I tried to keep it under 10 minutes and horribly failed. I am in a cramped area. There's a lot of time working in here right now that I can't really deal with so well, especially in my current position. I've been opened up a lot recently, and I feel really great about it. So I'm looking forward to this cycle. Promote the fiction cycle, man. Post shit about your favorite stories. Post shit about mythologies you love. Anything. Make up your own stories. Work with Randy. He's proposing that collaborative story. That's going to be a big deal. That anybody who contributes to that, you're going to be hugely rewarded. So please do. It only takes 2 sentences, and it works your imagination. It's an exercise, and you might, who knows, you might actually have fun doing it if you give it a shot. So jump in, people. We're here to make play, have fun. Get the party rolling. This isn't a bad thing. It's a change, and breaking these habits, it's going to be difficult. As with any addiction, it's going to be troublesome, but ultimately it's going to pay off hugely. I promise you. I'm living fucking proof of it. So I apologize I haven't been able to break some of the more present, imposing problems that I have, but I'm working on it. I'll get there. Don't worry. Uh, that's about it. That's all I have to say right now. I love you guys. Kila Salai, Terveuni Siari. Be totally fucking excellent. Don't ever fucking stop being excellent. Let's kick some ass here, guys. Peace.